Hello, everyone. This is Vern Davis. I am your host of Plant Profits, and Plant Profits is proudly brought to you by Produce Global. Look, my next guest is a seasoned executive, highly skilled in building businesses from the ground up. She is a serial entrepreneur with a people-first focus. She previously worked in the Bay Area on federal remediation projects before transitioning into business operations roles in the Valley, in Silicon Valley. She has worked with multiple Bay Area startups to help them set up and scale, and I mean scale their business operations. I am so proud today that we're able to bring to you, to the show, Alison Di Spaltro, the CEO of Escape Artists. Alison, how are you?
I'm great, Vern. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. I'm doing great. I'm so happy that you're able to join us. I have so much that I really want to talk about.
Awesome. Can't wait.
All right. Well, great. So look, I kind of want to go on this journey to cannabis with you. Okay. So, as a consumer, were you a consumer of the plant at all as you were evolving in your adult years?
I was the occasional,
Yeah.
recreational
Uh-huh.
consumer. I grew up in Oregon, so very familiar with the plant.
Yeah. It's a great place.
Uh, yeah, and in high school and college years, it was pretty common to partake. And I was, I would say a very rare occasional user before I got involved in the industry.
Okay. Well, let's talk about some of the things you got yourself involved in because you went to school, to college, and you became an engineer.
Yeah, I've always been passionate about the environment.
Yeah.
It's something that kind of just growing up was instilled in me, something my parents were really passionate about as well. And so I got into college and was trying to kind of figure out what to major in. I like everything, so it's kind of hard to narrow it down sometimes.
Yeah.
And so, but I realized, okay, I like math, I like problem solving, and I
Hmm.
care about the planet. And so environmental engineering seemed kind of like a logical conclusion for me. And I enjoyed what I learned, and I think a lot of valuable skills came out of that have helped me later on in my career.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about that a little bit. You love the environment, you love math, so you became an environmental engineer, and you went to work in that field briefly,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
When did this entrepreneurial hat when did you get that itch that you knew that this is you got that, because I'm an entrepreneur, I understand you
Yeah.
get that right high. I mean, the natural high of doing something like that, and it's hard to do something different. Yeah, when did that start for you?
I think so. I think I really have, my husband to thank or blame. I'm not entirely sure for that.
We've already blamed him for a couple things.
Yeah. But so we actually met in college.
Yeah.
And he moved down to the Bay Area. He's a technical startup founder.
Okay.
And so he majored in computer science in Oregon, and we met up there and came down and immediately kind of got to work in the Bay Area in the startup scene. And so meanwhile, I was working for an environmental firm. And I was really realizing I liked the kind of people aspects of
Mhm.
what I was doing and the team aspects of what I was doing, and I didn't get to do a lot of that in my environmental engineering path that I was on. Whereas he was, working for a startup, and all of our friends were starting to work for early stage companies
Yeah.
that were total chaos, but doing things that were really exciting. And so I really gravitate toward chaos and disorganization and like to bring that to organizations. And so I was like, this is a gold mine of fun, interesting problems to solve.
Yeah.
And I got really into it. And
So
I
you
got
got hooked. You got
I got
hooked
hooked.
into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So talk about some of the early businesses that you really helped accelerate from the ground floor.
Um, yeah. So one was uh this company that was a commercial real estate kind of company, kind of like um kind of almost like finding like online search for, I don't know if you've ever looked for office space,
Oh,
but
I have. Yeah.
it's not like easy to search online for office space. And so
Hmm.
this company was trying to make it easier for founders to find office space for their businesses. And that was a really great experience for me. I got to be an early employee at the company. I helped them scale up, open a New York office. And it was just this really wonderful experience where I realized I love building teams. I love
Hmm.
helping teams solve, the various challenges, whether it's the core business challenges or, the scaling challenges that a business faces. And so that experience kind of led me to, at the same time, after I had scaled their New York office, I uh, had my first kid.
Hmm.
And so after that, they kind of didn't really need, they were kind of in a low growth phase at that point. And so I was like, I love to just do this for companies. And so I started helping early stage founders kind of just like set up and get their business operations running
Hmm.
until they really needed like a chief operating officer or somebody. So that's
Good.
kind
So,
of
so
what I
you
did.
and you did that, and you just kept doing those kinds of things.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I probably helped, a dozen startups with
That's crazy. I know. I saw that.
that.
You were killing it. So
Yeah,
how did when did it hit you that cannabis could be a real business that you were interested in?
I got in it. And then
Okay.
so one of my founders, who's also a good friend, um got pulled into escape artists, and
Mm-hmm.
he was like, "You got to get over here." um
Now.
he was like, "I need help, like this is crazy. It's way harder than tech. I need your help." And so I came in and was like, wow, this is totally different. You know, I had started getting a little bit restless with the tech companies, just like I needed something a little bit meatier to work on. And
Okay.
so he was like, it's so much harder, so many different regulations you're dealing with, everything. And so I got in and I was like, okay, I'll help you for a little bit. But then I got into it and I was like, wait, this company is also making like real products that are helping people feel better. And that was really motivating for me. So
Okay. The
because
wellness part of it. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't worked for a company where we were making something that I could really see benefiting the customer in like a very real way, and we were getting emails. I don't know if you're familiar with escape artists, but our
I
our,
am.
our main product is our topical creams,
Yeah.
our main product line. And we get emails all the time from people saying, wow, this really, I had some long-term injury or
Mm-hmm.
chronic issue, and I use it every day, and it helps me, live my life. And so hearing those stories from customers was hugely motivating for me to really, like dive in head first, because not only were there no shortage of operational challenges to deal with um and scaling issues, but also the end product that we're making is something I really believe in.
No, that's great. That is great. What year was that you got into escape artists?
I joined in 2019.
Okay, so you were I'm telling you, 4 years in cannabis is like four, it's like 25 years in
I
something
think it's
else.
like dog years.
It's crazy. 4 years. I mean, you're an old vet. My God, what are you gonna do next?
I
It's
I
kind
don't
of
know,
that crazy.
I'm hanging around, I think. I
Yeah,
I really I'm really, for somebody who enjoys chaos and
yeah.
problem solving. I don't see the end in sight. So
I don't either. I think you're going to be fed for sure. So, this cannabis is, there's so many similarities, and it is a consumer product, right? It's, I mean, topical, and we're going to get into escape artists for sure, but topical is a big deal, and I don't hear enough about topical. And that's why one of the reasons I wanted you here, because I want us to talk about that in the wellness perspective of that and what's really going on in that part of the game. But I also know that you're a female founder, you're a female startup, expert. You scale companies, but you're doing it. Most of the folks you're working with are men.
Yep.
Right. But tell me about that. Do you find that challenging? And if you do, in what way?
I think it is challenging. However, and I can talk about the ways, but I have not experienced working in an industry that's dominated by women because I've been in engineering and tech before this. So I think I have to say things have gotten better just in general. When I was working on cleanup sites in trucking yards, that was bad. That was
I
really
can
bad.
only imagine.
Yeah, this petite blonde woman walks in and that was not cool. There were so many things not cool about that situation. But
Yeah.
and I think tech people were definitely nicer, but there was definitely some sort of divide. And now getting into cannabis, I think that there's more of an openness, and at least desire to be more inclusive to women in the industry. Though I think there's still a long way to go. I think one of the things that happens is the majority of executives are men, and the majority of the people who control the capital that's going into cannabis are men. And then they tend to network amongst each other. And then there's these ancillary women's events, that are at the same time.
Yeah.
And so the women get shoved off into this corner and the men over here, and they're all working on deals. Well, there's a, women's event. And really we should be all talking to each other. I
Yeah.
think that's what really needs to happen. And it shouldn't be this focus on women supporting women. Women do support women, and I think we should continue to do that, obviously. But I think it's really needs to be men seeking out women and not afraid to talk to women, and to go out of their way to support their businesses, because it's not something that I think comes naturally. So it's something that they have to be cognizant of.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, Allison, and when we get back, we're going to really dive into that a little bit and kind of understand, because I totally agree with you, but that's a big issue of it reminds me, if you visualize when you're a kid, you had the big holiday dinner and the kids were over in the little table and the adults were over at the big table, right? And there were the conversations on the tables were very, very, very different. This is Vern Davis. I am your host of Plant Profits, and Plant Profits is proudly brought to you by Produce Global. My guest today is Alison Di Spaltro, and she is the CEO of Escape Artists, and we'll be right back. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Vern Davis. I am your host of Plant Profits, and Plant Profits is brought to you by Produce Global. My guest today on Plant Profits is Alison Di Spaltro, and she is the CEO of Escape Artists. And Alison and I are just chopping it up a little bit about the women working in a male-dominated environment in the cannabis space. And I love what you said, Alison, when you said that women need to continue to support women, but men need to learn how to talk to women. That's that's century-old problem. That's not a new issue. So how we're going to break that, and what have you noticed makes a difference in that dynamic?
I think, I mean, and I said this at the beginning, and I do think that this
Yeah.
industry is better than others. But I think it's getting, like you said, there's the
Mm-hmm.
kids table and the adults table. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
it just needs to be one table. We just all
Right.
need to sit around the table. And it I see it starting to happen and it getting better, but I feel like as a female, and maybe this is my own interpretation a little bit, but I feel like I have to try harder to get to the table, to get to
Mm-hmm.
those conversations if I'm in a room with the people I want to be at the table with. It's not, people aren't coming and talking to me. I go to talk to them. and
Yeah.
and I think I think men in positions of power need to be cognizant of the fact that some of it is their responsibility to reach out and find these female founders, to find these female executives, to help them, because they don't already have all these relationships. And it's much harder for them to generate them. And I think there's a certain expectation of, this is not news, but women are kind of expected to be a certain way. They're supposed to be friendlier, they're supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be um more just pleasing in general. And so it's hard to be, uh a serious business entrepreneur who, is aggressively pursuing their goals, and also seem light and warm and fuzzy and be taken seriously. And so it's this really fine line that women have to walk to be, perceived as men by some, or in general, as someone they want to continue a conversation with, but then also to be seen as a serious business person. And so
Yeah. Yeah.
um it's a different dynamic that, I think men can get away with being very serious right off the bat
Mm-hmm.
and taken seriously, whereas if women come across very serious at the beginning, they don't people don't want to talk to them. And then if they're too friendly,
Yeah.
they're not taken seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a hard, it's a hard thing to do. And you can look at me, I've experienced a lot of that in my life, trying to really understand how it works. And what I really have found out, and I think this is it, and I think we need to call this out and scream it from the mountaintop. It's what the industry is missing if that fails, right? Is the value that's created by having you at the table, right? And I think that's the miss. And quite frankly, it's just freaking lazy, in my
Yeah.
opinion. It's just lazy not to involve the best and most talented people. And I think when you do that, you get a table of diversity, right? You get people that look different, and you become stronger because of that. I've had this conversation for 20 years, and when I have it with a female like you, you say the same thing. I've been saying the same thing for that, for decades, right? And then I end up saying it's really old. It's really no excuse. It's really laziness. Is a big part of it. You got to do something different to get you at the table,
Yeah.
Allison.
I mean, I
Right?
am encouraged by the fact that we're at least talking about it now.
Yeah.
Kind of when I entered my career, there was no conversations about this. This was not something anybody was talking about.
I
So
tell you,
you know,
what are you doing for women coming up and trying to get in the cannabis industry? What are you personally doing, or how are you reaching out to them? Are you mentoring? What's going on?
I do my best to
Uh-huh.
be an open person, and and when I do find women co-founders, I love to just
Yeah.
connect, it's hard to find them, honestly. But you know, when we do, you know, I have a couple of women that I connect with regularly, and we kind of share um just learnings, information. I think
Mhm.
sharing what we learn as we go, and things that have worked for our businesses, and struggles that we're having, and being able to just talk through them together, women to women, men to women, you know, every which way. We're just
Mhm.
going to help each other. And that's one thing I've really enjoyed about this industry so far, is people seem to be pretty open and sharing, you know,
Mhm.
willing to make. I think one of the best ways we can help each other is connect people to each other, you know, because
Yeah,
you never know
sure.
the, you know, if you connect, you know, Jim to Jennifer, right?
Mhm.
They could have a new business relationship that, you know, totally changes Jennifer's business, right?
Right.
And so, um, I think helping people make connections and helping share learnings is the best way to support each other, kind of, as we're all figuring this crazy business out.
It's crazy. It is. It is crazy. So when you're selecting talent to come into your business, right? And what do you do to make sure that you're getting the representation of diversity that you think is necessary to be successful? Because I know that your business is created by women. And it's attracted to women and it's marketed to women. But I mean, men need healing too. And so how does that work, and what does that look like?
Well, you know, interestingly enough,
Mhm.
so I kind of inherited a lot of our team.
Okay.
And I think diversity is something that we're working on, although we haven't, we do a lot with a very small team. It's very
Okay.
lean. Um,
Okay.
but as we open new roles, it's something that we consider, and we're prioritizing. You know, we have kind of a we do have we do have women on our team, but I would like more women in leadership roles on our team.
Uh-huh. Okay.
In
Yeah.
additional leadership roles. You know, we have
Mm-hmm.
an amazing brand director, Monica. She's one of our female leaders, and she's phenomenal. But you know, I'd love to see, as we grow, you know, we're kind of in we haven't done a lot of hiring since I started. I started right before the pandemic. So we actually did a little bit of downsizing and got really lean. But as
Of
we
course.
grow, you know, over the next year, I see us hiring as being a focus for us. And
Mhm.
it's something we're already talking about. You know, how do we improve the diversity of this? We have a wonderful team. But I would like to, you know, continue to make that be a focus.
Yeah.
Uh, and and so it's something we're looking at, you know, and when we work with, you know, a recruiter, it's something we talk about, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's I think bringing more diversity to the table leads to better products and better
Mm-hmm.
customer service. You know, you're getting more perspectives.
No, and it's a proven, it's a proven thing, and I love the fact that you guys are internally discussing the opportunity to do that. I always say that it is absolutely inexcusable to, if you're doing talent acquisition and if you're looking at a slate of talent for a particular role, if it's not diverse, the job is just not well done. I mean, you don't have the best of the best represented in this and what you're picking from, uh, because you know and I know that just very capable folks that could fit into your organization, that you know that are diverse are there. They're there. You just got to
Yep.
find them.
Yep.
And if you're using talent help, you need to find folks that know how to do that. If that's what you want to do, it because you're going to create better products, you're going to create better communication, you're going to create better visuals, you're going to create better everything if you can accomplish those goals, you know?
Yes, I completely agree.
No, absolutely. So look, let's talk about escape artists and the product and what's the mission. So tell us that mission that everybody in the office understands to be is where escape artists is going. What is that? You tell us, Allison.
Yeah. So, our founder is our chief science officer,
Okay.
and he comes from um a kind of pharmaceutical background. He got his PhD at Stanford in drug delivery mechanisms. So
Okay.
he is really passionate about the therapeutic benefits of cannabis and the ability to use those as an alternative to like painkillers, for example. So
Mm-hmm.
um and so really the founding goal of our products and our topicals line specifically, which is our core line, is helping people uh feel better, helping them get to a space where they can be present, because
Mm-hmm.
it's removing the pain that's bringing them, causing them difficulty in doing whatever they're trying to be doing. And so it's really a wellness perspective that we came into the industry from and that we've stuck to. Um and I think our mission is to help people feel better in a
Mm-hmm.
way that they're in control of. With the topical, it's a targeted relief. You're not taking a painkiller that's affecting your ability to function, cognitively.
Mm-hmm.
You're providing targeted relief to an area that needs it.
Right.
And so that's really kind of the founding principle, is escaping that pain and that discomfort that's bringing you down, and getting to a place where you can function. I see, like, the example of this is like my dad is somebody who's like our perfect customer. He he has arthritis in his knees, and
Yeah,
I've got 3 kids. He wants to be at every baseball practice and
that's
every
great.
and he
Yeah,
wants to be there, and he wants to be playing catch with them and chasing them in the grass, but his knees hurt. And so
yeah,
if he can put our cream on his knee instead of taking 4 Advil before he comes to see us, like,
yeah.
I feel like I won that day,
You did. You
So
absolutely did. And you're talking to someone whose knees hurt. Yes.
well, I had a
So
good some of our
you absolutely won that day. We're gonna come back and we're gonna dive into escape artists some more. And I can't wait because I have some questions that I want to dive into with you, Allison. I'm Vern Davis. I am your host of Plant Profits, and Plant Profits is proudly brought to you by my company, Produce Global. And my guest today, Alison Di Spaltro. She is the CEO of Escape Artists. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. This is Vern Davis. I am your host of Plant Profits, and Plant Profits is brought to you by Produce Global. My guest today, Alison Di Spaltro. She is the CEO of Escape Artists. So, with your product, I love the story about your dad, and that's a total win. What are some of the challenges you're facing today in launching this brand and expanding this brand? And I know you have this new relationship with 42 Degrees in Michigan. I want to talk about that. But tell us how you're looking at this. Is a weird time for us in cannabis, and how are you looking at growing this business during this time?
Um, I think this is a really weird time, and this
Mm-hmm.
year particularly, I think, is going to be very challenging.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I think it's more important than ever for us to expand our brand to new markets, to help protect us from the variable state climates.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so, and I do think also, um, we have a category leading product,
Mhm.
and we want to get that to new markets. So we're really focused on that, and we believe our product can help people in these markets. So um,
Yeah.
I think we're taking a very measured approach. We have to be constantly watching our cash as we're going into expansion.
Right.
And it's definitely a very fine balance that we're
Mhm.
looking at this year, because I don't think the climate for fundraising is great this year. So we've got
It's
to
interesting. I agree. Where are you? What markets are you? Do we have escape artists in right now?
so we are in Michigan right now.
Okay.
We will be in Nevada in April.
All right. Nice. You're moving on.
Yeah,
Yes.
and then we've got a couple other states we're lining up for later this year. So
Okay. So you're gonna add 4 markets this year.
yeah.
That's great. That is awesome. Let's talk money. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, you just made a statement that's so true, right? Weird time to raise money. Are you trying? Is this a year to raise money, or are you managing money this year? What are you doing?
We're managing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we're doing right now, is really, and I think in a perfect world, we'd
Yeah.
love to be expanding a little bit faster, but I think
Mhm.
instead we're kind of buckling down, managing it, and we think, we can get to 4 markets this year with what we've got. So
Okay.
that's what we're focused on right now.
Okay. Okay. Have you been talking to the money people?
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of my intention this spring, is, with all these conferences coming up,
Right.
is to get a better sense of what they're thinking. But the few I've talked to
Mm-hmm.
have, kind of been discouraging on the, prospects of raising at any decent valuation right now.
Yeah, they're really investing in their current investments right now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Are you going to be in Benzinga coming up? And
Yes, I
Miami,
will.
I'll see you there. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to seeing you there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I get it. So let's talk about you. You're known for the topical, but you also have pre-rolls and you have edibles, right, in your
Hmm.
portfolio. Tell me about building a brand in this space. Tell me about where you are on that and how you view that. And I have some strong opinions, so I'm
Yeah.
I'm really listen.
Yeah. So, I think what we have done in Colorado, and I can't take full credit for it, because I was very lucky to inherit this wonderful team that we have. But what we did to get into the market in Colorado was, we just were everywhere. We developed really strong relationships with our retail partners. We
Hmm.
had a very strong, I think in this industry, one of the things that's still so important is educating and training your bud tenders and your retail
Hmm.
partners on how your product works, because reaching the
Have to.
end consumer as a brand is much more difficult given all the limitations we have on social media and marketing capabilities. So we've put a very strong focus in Colorado in training our partners and
Hmm.
their bud tenders, and becoming this kind of household name in the state of Colorado. And so as we go to new markets, we take that sort of grassroots approach. We have people on the ground, um, in the markets that we're going to, our people doing
Hmm.
sales, doing vendor pop-ups, doing all of those things, because I think our people are the ones who understand our products. They're
Hmm.
passionate about our products. They know them in and out, and they know how they're different than the other products on the shelves.
Yeah.
So
So education at the point of purchase is
yeah,
critical.
yeah,
And
I
that's
think
where you're spending money at the point of
that's where
purchase.
we yeah,
Hmm.
that's where we spend our money, a lot of our money, and our just time. Our time,
Hmm.
which is money, is the at the stores, and
Hmm.
with the individuals selling our products.
Tell me about the topical category, right? Let's
Yeah.
talk about that and how you play and what makes you different.
Sure. So, the topical category is very small. It's about depending on which market, it's 1 to 2%
Okay.
of the markets you're looking at. Um, and most stores have 1 to 3 topicals brands on their shelves.
That's it? That's
Yeah,
it.
they don't
Okay.
it's not a big, it's not, like gummies, they might have, 2 dozen different types of gummies, right?
Yeah.
Topicals, they're gonna have a few on their shelves. I think, but every store will have a topical brand and
Hmm.
at least one. And our brand is different. Our chief science officer spent a lot of time formulating our topical. It's not just kind of a bomb that you
Hmm.
added THC to. It's carefully selected ingredients that are specifically designed to penetrate your skin,
Hmm.
and it's water based, so that means it's moisturizing and hydrating your skin before to allow added penetration to it. So it's not sitting on the surface of your skin. It's going
Hmm.
straight into
Through,
where,
yeah, so it's penetrating. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. So, our products are designed with intention, and from a scientific perspective.
Yeah. Tell me about consumer feedback.
Consumer feedback. Yeah, I think that's one of my favorite parts.
Is it? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
The consumer feedback we get um is really w- wonderful and motivating to keep doing this every day. I mean, this is not an easy job. This is not an easy industry to work in. And so the consumer feedback, I think, is really what keeps at least me going. And I think a lot of people on our team is
Hmm.
that they let us know that our topicals specifically are helping them get through their day, helping them deal with the, chronic pain or
Hmm.
injuries that they are suffering from. And that's what we love to hear. We have repeat customers, and that's what's fueled our business. That's what's kept us a market leader in Colorado, and that's what's um making us look at expansion to new markets.
Well, that's great. Now, the business in Colorado, it's kind of took the turn of the West Coast legacy businesses, right? It's been tough. How
Yeah.
is that? How are you getting through that? And tell us a little bit about your home market.
Yeah. So, I think um the Colorado market has been very challenging this last year. And our uh we were impacted by that,
Hmm.
financially. Our revenue in Colorado was uh our revenue at the wholesale level was down.
Hmm.
One of the things we've found is that, there's a lot of consolidation happening. What we're hearing from retailers is foot traffic is down. I think some of that, probably a decent portion, is attributed to surrounding legalization. We've got New
Hmm.
Mexico, Arizona
Hmm.
now. And I think that's really impacted our retail sales. I think also, one of the things that's happened is a lot of people come to Colorado for skiing, in the winter, and visits in the summer. And I think historically they would load up on products,
Right.
and now they're able to get those products in their home state. So it's a little bit of a different amount of foot traffic that the stores are seeing.
Hmm.
And it's challenging. And so, one of the things that we have seen is, with the consolidation, is that our kind of larger retail partners have taken on more store locations and gotten really tight with how they've managed inventory.
Hmm.
And so I do think the partners that make it through, the retail partners that make it through this difficult period, are going to have really well run businesses. And
Agreed.
so, yeah, and so as we kind of come out of this, and there's probably some baseline, l- level for Colorado that we're going to have to figure out what that is.
Right.
But because we had this like crazy 2021 and
Yeah.
everything was awesome, and then it was just like bam in 2022.
Right.
You
Right.
know, and I don't see it right now getting really better yet. So yeah, but I think the partners who survive this are gonna come out on top on the other side, because they've learned how to really, you know, closely and carefully manage their businesses. And so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right. I mean, I think that leveling is the theme for 2023.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the theme for 2023. I want to go to back to 42 degrees, right?
Yeah.
And so how did you get into that relationship, and that became a key part of the expansion to Michigan?
Yeah, so that was kind of through we kind of ended up with 42 degrees through um a variety of people in our network recommended them to us. And so we had like 3 different people recommend them to us. We got in touch with them, and you know, we met them, went to their facility, and they have a really amazing facility. They're really excellent manufacturers. You know, we were able to see that pretty quickly, and then we just spent time with you know, the founders. Elliot
Mhm.
over there is the founder that we work the closest with, and we just had dinner with them, and I realized they were, you know, a partner we wanted to work with, that we could work through challenges that we face, and, you know, get through uncomfortable conversations and get to the
Mhm.
other side of it. And that was
Mhm.
really important. You know, I have this very strict no assholes policy
Yeah,
when
I love that, and we have that too here at my
yeah,
company.
like when
We
we're
have that.
working with
Yeah.
vendors, you know, retail
Hmm.
partners, hiring employees. I think it doesn't make sense to spend time working with assholes. And so
Right.
we met these guys, and it was just this like kind of really clear fit from like a, you know, just I wanted to work with them. I wanted to be on a
Hmm.
team with them. And we got we got to their facility. It looked like, you know, they were very capable. They've been a great manufacturing partner for us. You know, we got up and running with the manufacturing with no hiccups. And so far we've just been able to work through the challenges as they come up.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Look, before we end this, I want to get your outlook on the space, on the sector, and what you're excited about.
You know, I think we're still a ways off from anything happening at the federal level, you know, anything with
Hmm.
interstate commerce. I I think that this year is going to be a tough year for most people in the industry. I think the East Coast and Midwest markets are going to have a better year than the West Coast.
Hmm.
And uh but I think ultimately this is this is a plant that isn't going away, and
Right.
there's going to be a growing consumer base for this product as people shift away from alcohol, as the population ages. You know, I think there's so many things headed, you know, pointed to the fact that, and there's such diversity in the types of products. You know, like our topicals product,
Hmm.
it's not intended to even get you high, you know, and then there's, you know, you have the extreme kind of recreational products. So there's
Hmm.
such diversity to meet the various customers where they're
Hmm.
at with this plant. And so I think the best brands are going to win, the best
Hmm.
the best managed dispensaries are going to succeed, and we're
Hmm.
going to get to this place where, you know, the shopping experience is really great. And right now it's not there yet, and we'll get there.
You said so much in that closing statement. I really appreciate you, Allison, for being here on Plant Profits. My guest today on Plant Profits is Alison Di Spaltro. She is the CEO of Escape Artists, and I'm Vern Davis. I am your host of Plant Profits, and Plant Profits is brought to you by Produce Global. And I want to thank all of you for joining us. You can download episodes of Plant Profits by going to cannabisradio.com, who's my partner in crime here, or subscribe to the show on all major podcast outlets, right? Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, iHeart, wherever you get your podcast fix. Pick up Plant Profits and look for this show with Alison Di Spaltro, who is the CEO of Escape Artists. And you can follow Produce Global on social media. We're everywhere: LinkedIn, Insta, Facebook, Twitter, anywhere. We are there, and learn more about how we're and our efforts are building companies and how we're changing people's lives. That's produceglobal.com. That's PROTIS global.com. Until next time, I'm Vern Davis, your host of Plant Profits. Cheers.